I accidentally became the hero of a viral video, but now everyone thinks I did something I didn't do. It started when I was walking home from work, exhausted and barely paying attention to my surroundings. Suddenly, I heard a loud crash and a woman screaming. Instinct kicked in, and I ran toward the noise. A man was sprinting away, clutching a purse. Without thinking, I threw my backpack at him. It hit his legs and he tripped, sending the purse flying. Someone nearby caught everything on video. The clip exploded online. The title, "Real-life superhero takes down a thief." Comments poured in, calling me a legend, a vigilante, even a crime-fighting genius. News stations picked it up, replaying my heroic moment on a loop. The problem? I hadn't actually tackled the guy. He tripped over a broken sidewalk. My backpack barely brushed him. But no one cared about the truth. Everyone just wanted a good story. And soon, things spiraled out of control. Reporters showed up at my job, eager for an interview. Strangers recognized me on the street, thanking me for my bravery. Even my boss was impressed, offering me a promotion for my quick thinking. I tried to correct people, but they dismissed my protests as humility. My inbox overflowed with job offers, sponsorships, and even an invitation to a reality TV show. The whole situation felt surreal, but it only got worse when the police contacted me. Apparently, the man I stopped was pressing charges. His lawyer claimed I attacked him, causing injuries. I was stunned. The video made me famous, but now it was being used against me. The internet, which had once celebrated me, was divided. Some people still called me a hero, while others said I had used excessive force. I pleaded with the authorities, explaining that he had simply tripped, but the footage told a different story. In desperation, I tracked down the original video uploader, hoping for an unedited version. When I found them, they hesitated before admitting they had cut out a key part, the thief stumbling before my backpack hit him. "I just wanted to make it more dramatic," they said. Furious, I demanded they post the full clip, but by then, the internet had already decided my fate. The narrative was too powerful to change. Court day arrived, and my stomach churned as the prosecution played the viral clip. The judge frowned, but then my lawyer presented the full, uncut video. The truth was clear. I hadn't caused the fall. The case was dismissed, but the damage was done. My reputation had taken a hit. Some still saw me as a hero, while others called me a fraud. The offers dried up, and my boss withdrew the promotion. I had gone from internet sensation to forgotten meme. Weeks later, a new viral story took my place, and people stopped recognizing me. My life slowly returned to normal, but I couldn't shake the experience. I had seen firsthand how easily the truth could be twisted. I had been both a hero and a villain, all because of a few seconds of edited footage. The internet didn't care about reality, only a good story. And I had been caught in the middle. Now, when I see a trending video, I hesitate before believing it. I wonder how much of it is real, and how much is just for clicks. The internet moves fast, but the people it affects are left dealing with the consequences. I had learned my lesson the hard way. Next time, if I ever find myself in another viral moment, I'll make sure the whole truth is out there before someone else writes my story for me. My best friend disappeared on her wedding day, but before that, she left me an envelope with the words, "Open it if I disappear." At first, I thought it was a joke, something dramatic to ease her PI wedding jitters. But when she vanished just hours before the ceremony, panic set in. Her fiancé was frantic, the guests were confused, and the police were called. I clutched the envelope, heart pounding. Had she planned this? Or was something truly wrong? With trembling hands, I tore it open. Inside was a single note. "If you're reading this, I need you to trust me. Don't believe what they tell you. Find the red box." My mind raced. Who was they? What red box? I searched her apartment, digging through drawers and closets. Then, behind a loose brick in her bedroom wall, I found it, a small, locked box with no key. My pulse quickened. She had hidden this for a reason. I took the box home and stared at it for hours. Should I break it open? Call the police? Her fiancé, Daniel, kept calling, asking if I had heard from her. His voice was tight with frustration. She wouldn't just leave, he insisted. But the note suggested otherwise. When I finally forced the lock, I found a flash drive, a wad of cash, and a second note. "If I disappear, it's because I found out the truth about Daniel." A chill ran down my spine. Daniel? He had always seemed devoted, even obsessed. But was that love or something darker? I plugged in the flash drive and opened the only file. It was a video grainy footage of Daniel in a heated argument with a man I didn't recognize. Words like blackmail and you'll regret this echoed through my speakers. My best friend had discovered something dangerous, but had it led to her disappearance? I went to the police with the footage, but they brushed me off. Not enough evidence, they said. Daniel played the grieving Fiat perfectly, shedding tears for the cameras. Meanwhile, I kept digging. Using the cash, I hired a private investigator. Within days, he uncovered shocking details. Daniel had a secret life, offshore accounts, and 2 eyes to missing persons cases. My friend had been right to be afraid. 1 week later, I received an anonymous email. She's safe. Stop looking. Relief and frustration battled inside me. If she was safe, why wouldn't she contact me? The investigator warned me not to push further, but I couldn't let it go. I leaked the footage online, exposing Daniel's secrets. Within days, he vanished too. The police reopened the case, but it was too late. Both of them were ghosts. Months passed, and life returned to a strange normal. The world moved on, but I couldn't. Then, one evening, I found an unmarked letter in my mailbox. No return address, just a single line written in her familiar handwriting. Thank you for believing me. I clutched the letter, tears blurring my vision. She was alive, somewhere out there, watching. She had escaped, but at what cost? Now, every time my phone rings or I see a shadow in the distance, I wonder if it's her. I wonder if she'll ever return. But deep down, I know she can't. Not while Daniel is still out there. Until then, I keep the red box, now empty, as a reminder. A reminder that sometimes love isn't what it seems and that some disappearances are meant to keep you alive. I found an old diary in my grandmother's house. It describes events that change everything I knew about our family. Hidden behind a loose panel in her attic, the diary was wrapped in silk, its pages yellowed with age. The handwriting was elegant but urgent, as if the writer had been racing against time. As I flipped through the pages, my breath caught in my throat. This wasn't just a personal journal, it was a confession. One that rewrote our family's history. The diary belonged to my great-grandmother, Eleanor. In it, she described a secret buried for generations. Our family name wasn't originally ours. Eleanor wrote about a night in 1932 when her father arrived home covered in mud, carrying a newborn that wasn't his. The child, my grandfather, was taken in as their own, but the truth was never spoken aloud. No one knew where he truly came from, only that he had to stay hidden. As I read on, the story darkened. Eleanor hinted that her father had been involved in something dangerous. She mentioned a missing aristocratic family and a house that burned down under suspicious circumstances. The child, she feared, had been taken that night, rescued or stolen. She never knew which. But what shook me most was the final entry. It simply read, "If anyone finds this, the past is watching." Some secrets never stay buried. Chills ran down my spine. Was this just paranoia, or was there still a danger lurking? I searched through old records, determined to find proof. My grandfather's birth certificate was a forgery. The names, the dates, they didn't match anything official. Digging further, I discovered an unsolved case from 1932. A wealthy couple and their infant son had vanished, their estate mysteriously destroyed. Was my grandfather that missing child? The more I uncovered, the more uneasy I felt. Late at night, I started hearing strange noises in my grandmother's house, whispers in empty rooms, footsteps when I was alone. At first, I told myself it was just my imagination, but then I found something chilling. Tucked inside the diary's back cover was an old photograph of a man in a black suit. On the back, Eleanor had written, "He knows." But who was he? And what did he know? Determined, I took the diary to a historian who specialized in lost family histories. When she saw the photo, she went pale. This man, she whispered, was rumored to silence those who asked him many questions. My stomach twisted. If Eleanor had been afraid of him, should I be too? That night, I locked the diary away, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Had I disturbed something best left forgotten? Then, one evening, a letter arrived at my door. No name, no return address, just a single sentence. Stop digging, or you will end up like them. Fear clenched my chest. Someone knew what I had found. Someone wanted it buried. I debated leaving the truth alone, pretending I had never found the diary. But deep down, I knew I couldn't. The past had been hidden for too long, and now it was demanding to be seen. I left town the next morning, but I kept the diary. If anything happened to me, I wanted someone to know the truth. My family's history wasn't just rewritten, it had been stolen. and someone out there was still trying to keep it that way. As I drove away, I made a silent promise. I would uncover everything, no matter the cost. But as I glanced in my rearview mirror, my blood ran cold. A black car was following me. I accidentally overheard a conversation between two people who were planning something illegal, but then I realized that one of them was my boss. It happened late one evening when I stayed behind at work to finish a report. As I passed the break room, I heard hushed voices. Curiosity got the best of me, so I stepped closer. The shipment arrives Friday night, one voice said. No mistakes this time. Then came a reply that made my blood run cold. It was my boss, Mr. Langley. My heart pounded as I pieced together their words. They were talking about smuggling something, money, drugs, maybe even weapons. Langley had always seemed like a strict but respectable man. Now, he was discussing illegal shipments like it was routine. I held my breath, praying they wouldn't notice me. But then, silence fell. Had they heard me? My pulse raced as I carefully backed away. But I knew one thing: I was in deep trouble. The next morning, I debated what to do. Going to the police was risky. I had no proof, just a conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. If Langley found out, I could lose my job or worse. So I played it cool, pretending nothing had changed. But when I walked into the office, Langley's eyes locked onto me with a sharpness I had never seen before. He knew, somehow, he knew I had heard them. That day, I found a note on my desk. Let's talk. Conference room. Now, my hands trembled as I walked in. Langley stood there alone, his expression unreadable. You overheard something you shouldn't have, he said calmly. And now, you have a choice. Either you forget about it, or you become a part of it. My stomach twisted. This wasn't a warning, it was a recruitment. He was giving me an ultimatum, and I had no idea what to do. I nodded, forcing a weak smile, pretending to consider his offer. I need time to think, I lied. He studied me for a moment, then smirked. Smart choice. That night, I made my decision. I packed a bag and drove straight to the police. They listened, but without solid evidence. They couldn't act. Get proof, the officer said, or stay out of it. I had no choice. If I wanted to take Langley down, I had to become a spy in my own office. Over the next few days, I played along, pretending to be interested in Langley's business. He believed I was on board, giving me small tasks, delivering unmarked packages, making cryptic phone calls. It was terrifying, but I needed evidence. Then I got my chance. Langley handed me a flash drive, instructing me to deliver it to an unknown contact. Instead, I copied the files and took them straight to the police. The drive contained everything: transactions, locations, names. The sting operation happened fast. One night, just as Langley was preparing for another illegal shipment, the police stormed in. I watched from a distance as he was handcuffed, his expression a mix of fury and betrayal. He had no idea it was me who had turned him in. As they dragged him away, he caught my gaze, and a chilling smile crossed his lips. This isn't over, he mouthed. My blood ran cold. I had won for now. Even after his arrest, I couldn't shake the paranoia. Langley had connections, and I knew he wouldn't stay behind bars forever. So I changed my number, moved to another city, and started fresh. But sometimes I still feel like I'm being watched. A shadow lingering too long, an unfamiliar car outside my building. Maybe it's just paranoia. Or maybe one day, Langley will come back to finish what he started. I found a lost wallet in the park. When I returned it to its owner, it turned out that he was a millionaire who wanted to reward me in an unexpected way. At first, I didn't even check the contents. I just saw a leather wallet near a bench and picked it up. But when I opened it to look for an ID, my heart nearly stopped. It was packed with cash, credit cards, and a business card that simply read, Elliot Grayson, CEO. I had no idea who he was, but I knew I had to return it. I called the number on the card, half expecting a secretary to answer. Instead, a deep voice came through. Elliot Grayson. I explained the situation, and after a brief silence, he chuckled. Honest people are rare. Meet me at the address on the card. Curiosity burned inside me as I made my way there. The address led to a towering glass skyscraper downtown, the kind of building where billionaires ran empires. Was this really happening? Security let me in without question, and soon I was in his office, a massive space with floor-to-ceiling windows. Elliot Grayson, a man in his 50s with sharp blue eyes, studied me. You could have kept the money, he said. Why didn't you? I shrugged. Because it wasn't mine. He nodded. then did something I didn't expect. He tossed the wallet into a drawer and leaned forward. "I have a proposal for you," he said. "How do you feel about taking risks?" I hesitated. "What kind of risks?" His lips curled into a smile. "I like testing people, and you just passed the first test. I want to offer you a challenge. If you win, the reward will change your life. If you lose, well, let's just say you'll regret it." My mind raced. Was this a joke? Some eccentric billionaire's game? I should have walked away, but something in his gaze made me stay. "I'm listening," I said. He handed me an envelope. "Inside is an address. Go there, follow the instructions, and don't ask questions. If you succeed, you'll understand why I chose you." My pulse quickened as I stepped out of the building, envelope in hand. Every instinct told me this was insane, but I couldn't ignore the excitement bubbling inside me. I opened the envelope. It contained only 2 words. "Find Henry." No last name, no explanation, just a mystery waiting to be solved. The address led me to a quiet neighborhood, where I found an old man sitting on a porch. "Henry?" I asked. He nodded. "You must be the one Elliot sent." He handed me a small, locked box. "Deliver this to him. And don't look inside." My hands itched with curiosity, but I obeyed. When I returned the box, Elliot smiled. "Congratulations. You just proved you can follow instructions without letting temptation win." That's the quality I need. I expected money, maybe a job offer. Instead, he slid a contract across the table. "I want you to work for me, not in an office, but in the field. I need someone I can trust with sensitive matters. The kind that require discretion and loyalty." My breath caught. "What kind of matters?" He only grinned. "You'll find out soon enough." Against all logic, I signed. Maybe I was crazy, but one thing was certain: my life was about to change forever. That day, I had returned a wallet, expecting nothing in return. Instead, I was stepping into a world I didn't understand, guided by a man who saw something in me I hadn't even seen in myself. As I left his office, the weight of the contract in my pocket, I knew one thing for sure: whatever happened next, there was no turning back. My father, who left us when I was a child, has suddenly reappeared and wants to come back into my life. But he has brought with him a secret that could destroy everything. I hadn't seen him in almost 20 years. Not since the night he walked out with nothing but a suitcase. Now, here he was, standing on my doorstep, older, thinner, but with the same piercing eyes. "We need to talk," he said, his voice heavy with something I couldn't quite place: guilt, fear, or maybe both. I wanted to slam the door in his face, but curiosity held me back. We sat in my kitchen, the silence thick between us. Finally, he spoke. "I didn't leave because I wanted to," he said. "I left to protect you." My stomach tightened. "Protect me? From what?" He hesitated before pulling a faded envelope from his coat. "I wrote this years ago, in case I never saw you again. But now, it's time you knew the truth." His hands trembled as he pushed it toward me. Inside was a letter, yellowed with age. As I read, my pulse quickened. My father hadn't been the man I thought he was. He had been involved in something dangerous, something that had forced him to disappear. "I work for people who don't forgive mistakes," he admitted. When I realized what I'd gotten into, I had two choices: stay and risk your lives, or leave and keep you safe. His voice cracked. "I thought they'd forget me, but they haven't." A chill ran down my spine. "Who are they?" I demanded. His jaw tightened. "Powerful men. The kind who never stop watching." He exhaled shakily. "They found me a week ago. And now they know about you." My blood turned to ice. My father had been gone for 2 decades, and now his past had followed him straight to my door. "I had no choice but to come back," he continued. "To warn you, to make sure they don't use you against me." I stood abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. "So what do we do?" My father glanced out the window, his paranoia contagious. "We disappear," he said. Together. My heart pounded. My life had been normal, boring, even until this moment. Now, I was supposed to abandon everything because of a past I hadn't even known existed. "They're coming, and they won't stop," he added. "We have to leave tonight." I wanted to refuse, to tell him I wasn't part of his mess. But deep down, I knew the truth. If what he said was real, I didn't have a choice. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. I hesitated before answering. A low voice, calm and deliberate, spoke. "We know where you are." My breath caught. The line went dead. My father's expression darkened. "It's begun." Adrenaline surged through me. I wasn't just running from my past, I was running for my life. We packed in silence, my mind racing with questions. What had my father done? Who were these people? And how far would they go to find us? As we drove into the night, every passing car felt like a threat, every shadow a warning. My father gripped the wheel tightly. "I know I don't deserve your trust," he said. "But I swear, I won't let them take you." I wanted to believe him, but after years of absence, how could I be sure? As the city lights faded behind us, I realized my old life was over. I had been given no warning, no time to prepare, just a father I barely knew, a past I never asked for, and an uncertain future on the run. The only thing I knew for sure was that whatever was coming next, it wouldn't be easy.